GF told me, I only want you forever, I don't want him, I swear I'd never hurt you. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Aura Zone Stories. Today we have a story where this woman was spending time with her ex-boyfriend. Her current boyfriend found out from her mobile what was really going on while she was sleeping. Let's see what really happened. My GF and I have been together for just over 2 years now. When we met, we both were coming out of terrible relationships and both had been doing the single life for a little while. I'll save the story about how my ex was for another time. But her ex, we'll simply call him X from here on, was an abusive drunk who couldn't hold a job, etc. X really did a number on her self-esteem, even though she is stunning, and would physically abuse her. You know, a stereotypical loser. But they have a child together. More on this later. Anyway, I recovered quite well from my divorce and was totally in a healthy place with zero drama. I have battled through life's challenges through the years and can proudly say that I overcome it. Well, from the moment I laid eyes on this beautiful lady, I was immediately just super attracted to her. On our first night hanging out, I knew that she was going to be trouble in a good way. I completely fell for her and she fell for me. We were inseparable in the honeymoon phase, having so much fun, living life to the fullest, having amazing bedroom activity multiple times a day, making memories, bonding, we were best friends, all that good stuff. It was fun. I gave her all the things that X didn't. I gave her security, bought a big house for us to live in, took her out all the time, awesome vacations, bought her gifts, etc. But most importantly, I have given her respect, love, and loyalty. I always knew that she was very passionate about X when they were together. I knew that she deeply loved him at one point. That didn't bother me at first, but as time has gone on, I can see that he still pushes her buttons. He can completely change her mood and demeanor. He gets to her. This has made me insecure about their relationship and ours. They have the cutest little girl together, who I adore, by the way, so he has to be in her life. They have to communicate, even though they fight like cats and dogs. Well, until recently, my GF has never given me any reason to have trust issues. She doesn't hide her phone. She lets me know her every day-to-day move. She is always home when I get home. We can see each other's location. Her idea, not mine, but I don't mind. You all get the picture. There is nothing there. We have never spent a night apart in 2 years until about 2 weeks ago. So for about the past month, I have noticed that she has become much friendlier with X. She has no issue talking to him in front of me. She has gone to his house to do the child exchange. They have been getting along great. Now normally, this wouldn't be alarming at all to me, but at the same time, she has become increasingly cold and distant towards me. We argue and fight all the time over petty stuff. Our life has diminished. It just hasn't been the same vibe. So 2 weeks ago, we had a huge fight. She went out with some friends after work and had a bunch of tequila. She came home around 11:30 p.m., but she was completely drunk and belligerent and was yelling and screaming at me. We got into another huge fight and she left drunk. Well, I was concerned for her safety driving in that condition, so I am blowing up her phone trying to get her to stop and come home. She wasn't having it, so I looked at her location and it showed that she was at her parents' house. So I said okay, and I went to bed. Well, I wasn't sleeping well, so I woke up at 4 a.m. and checked her location. She had turned it off. I immediately jump up and get dressed to go find her. About the time that I hit the door, here she comes pulling into the driveway. This time she was drunk and had obviously continued drinking. So I was like, where have you been? She climbed into the bed, tried to snuggle with me, and passed out. Now, I'm not one to go through my significant other's phone, but I needed to know where she had been out drinking all night, so I looked. There was nothing in the phone but a received call from a no-caller ID number right before she got home at 4 a.m. She talked to this person. I waited until the next day to confront her in an effort for me to be calm and for her to sober up. She stands on it that she doesn't remember who it was and is adamant that she went to a girlfriend's house. So fast forward to the other night, X calls my phone drunk and tells me that she came to his house that night drunk, and that they laughed, cried, and caressed, and then went into some more graphic details about what went down. He knew the date, said she got there around midnight, shortly after she left our house, then said around 3:30 she got into her feels and got dressed and left. Herein lies my dilemma. Usually I am a sit back and watch kind of dude, but I confronted her on it. She has adamantly denied that any of this took place. She has looked me square in the eyes with tears rolling down her face and said that she did not go to his house, that she was at her girlfriend's. Her story has not wavered. My heart wants to believe her, as I do know her heart as well. And I don't think she would be capable of straight up lying to me while looking me in the eyes. It would take an evil person in my opinion to be able to do that. Homeboy X does lie about everything, but in my mind's eye, her story just doesn't add up, his does. Logically, she was cheating on me with her ex. I am completely in love with this girl, but I am completely torn and confused. I have been totally loyal to her. Sorry for the rambling, it's 4 a.m. and I can't sleep. What should I do? Many thanks to everyone who replied. The consensus was pretty much universal. Your replies gave me the strength and confidence to stand my ground and demand some answers, the truth on this. I needed some anonymous and unbiased opinions from others, and you delivered. One thing to note is that it's always easier to see the big picture when you're away from the situation, which is why I reached out on here. Today, after reading several of the replies, I simply looked at her and said, I know. She immediately started crying. Initially, she firmly denied it, even to the point of becoming angry with me. But I held on to the logic and didn't let my feelings get in the way of the path to the truth. I explained to her how it is this situation that they have put me in, and that I didn't ask for any of this. It's when I finally said that we wouldn't be able to move forward until she comes clean about what happened, that I'll never get over it until proof can be given one way or the other, and that it would take an evil individual to cheat and then straight up lie to the other person. I told her that it should be my decision whether I wanted to continue the relationship or not. Well, that broke her. She finally admitted that she went to his house that night. She swears that nothing happened physically between them, which is laughable, but at this point, it doesn't even matter. She cheated and then lied straight to my face about it. All of the "we need trust, I only want you forever, I don't want him, I swear I'd never hurt you" in right out of the window. She looked me straight in the eyes and swore on everything that she didn't go to his house and that she was at her friend's that night. I'm almost more concerned about the callous lies that she told me after the fact than that she actually cheated on me. I'm done with her, and I feel good about it given the betrayal that took place. It was the not knowing that was depressing me. I have given her some time to get her affairs in order and get out because of her child. Fortunately, like a few of you pointed out, I have no ties to her. Everything is in my name. So, I guess the lesson learned for anybody reading this in the future is, never let your emotions get in the way of making logical decisions or coming to reasonable conclusions. Thank you all again. He acted forthrightly and dealt with her aggressively and without hesitation. Having done so, even though she betrayed him, I suspect that instead of the usual long process of recovery that typically accompanies this kind of infidelity, he will experience more sadness than despair, and will heal much faster. I'm glad you got this sorted out. She is under his spell, and she can't get rid of him even if she wanted to, because he is the kid's biological dad. Every guy that dates her will go through exactly what you did with her. She will fall for a new guy, then he will feel her back in and will do bedroom activity with her, then call her BF, and tell him about it just to assert his dominance. I've seen this many times before. Really, it's like some sort of spell these women are under. The woman's life will never amount to anything great because of his hold on her. You probably don't realize what a huge bullet you dodged here. I do worry about her still being at your house though. She may turn on the waterworks and other emotional stuff to reel you back in. Good luck, stay strong, you got this. Hi, I'm a 32-year-old widow. Have been for 3 years. I struggled a lot financially. I didn't get help from my family because they claim they can't, so I decided to start a home daycare. It's been open for 7 months now. My friend was able to get me more clients via Facebook. Thank goodness my business is growing, and I've made quite a lot of friends who are moms and also established good reputation since my daycare has been recommended. My sister is unemployed, didn't find a job yet, and had rent to pay for her and her boyfriend. My parents suggested I let her come work with me at my daycare and accepted since she has experience in the past. I agreed to let her come and earn her living. She got along with the other workers and things were going fine until she came to me asking about a specific child that comes to our daycare. He's 4, very well behaved for his age. I was confused after she complained about him, She said she saw his dad come over to pick him up and didn't feel comfortable when she saw him because he's a police officer, and she had an unpleasant incident with the police because of something her boyfriend did that she needed therapy for and struggled a lot from. She wanted me to let the child go and tell the parent to look for another daycare. He usually arrives at 3 p.m. to pick the kid up. From what I understand, his wife's sick. I refused. I have no good reason to let the child go. My sister refused to drop it and started being mean to the dad. It was unprofessional of her. I told her she either be respectful or I won't have her work with me anymore. 2 days ago, she sent an email to the dad telling him we won't be welcoming his kid at the daycare anymore. He came to talk to me, and I was livid when I saw the email. He asked why, and talked about his kid wanting to stay because he's friends with other kids. Talked about not being able to find a daycare closer than ours. I lashed out at my sister, and I told her she's no longer able to work at the daycare because of her behavior. We got into an argument, and she left after saying I was being unsupportive and inconsiderate. My parents called me saying I shouldn't have kicked my sister out, and now causing her to lose her apartment. They argued I have no regard for my sister trauma, and I should have let the child go and support her because she's my sister. Everyone shamed me and claimed I had messed up priorities. I felt I was in the wrong for letting her struggle now without a job, but I have no reason to let go of the child as well. He wears a uniform. My aunt suggested that I ask him to get someone else to come and pick up his kid, or at least I let her leave before 3 p.m. and arrive a bit late in the morning. But others would notice the difference in treatment at the daycare. I understand that there are parents struggling, and I do all I can to help out and be supportive. Yes, she's my younger sister, but treating people like that was unprofessional of her. One thing to clarify, my sister's boyfriend is in no contact with my family due to issues. However, they said they want to support my sister and be in contact with her and support her although they don't have a relationship with her boyfriend. That's why they keep pressuring me to help and support her. Her sister is so far out of line. It's always hard to work with family, but her behavior and expectations are outrageous. Her sister not only overstepped, she put her business at risk. Her parents ought to back her up on this. My ex and I dated for 10 years. We spent our entire 20 seconds together. He was so wonderful and attentive to me. I adored him too. We had our own world and language, it seemed. I still have yet to meet anybody that I can be on the same wavelength with like that. He always wanted to take care of me, and I had never experienced a male figure like that in my life before. He grew up as a first-generation American, and I know that he always felt that. His parents held him back from being his true self in life until he moved out. We were such a good influence on one another. I experienced a traumatic event in my late 20s. As a result, I was depressed and burnt out with life. He was burning out at work. He had plans to pursue a PhD, but gave up on it right before he applied. He has a strong science background, but decided to work for a distillery instead. A completely different group of people, and I noticed that his personality was slowly changing over time. He was finally becoming the cool guy. We were both struggling with burnout with our careers, as I mentioned above. I was feeling depressed over the traumatic indecent that really temporarily ruined my life, and I told him one night that I wasn't sure how much more I had in me. He said that he knew we would both be successful one day, and that he wouldn't want to accomplish his goals with anybody else. He also said that he wants to be successful together. 2 months later, he broke up with me because he said that I angered him when I needed him home from hanging out with his friends to help me clean. He said that he wanted to be free, something he never felt growing up. His parents were overbearing, and that he wanted to focus on work, his health, and finding happiness. He did not want to deal with my stresses either. I told him that I was not aware that he was suffering so much. He never talks about his feelings, and I was left to guess. Next thing I know, right after we break up, I noticed that a girl that I had been suspicious of was now following his social media pages again. 3 years prior, I saw a message from her on his Snapchat account that said, "I wonder what things would have been like had we dated," which was and is still very suspicious to me. Also, she was married at the time to a man with cancer when she sent that. She's not totally evil. She took care of her husband, while he was sick at least. This was just a few weeks after we broke up, that I noticed she was on his social media again. After I moved out, he was pretty cold with me some days, and then extremely nice and caring other days. I had to go back to our old apartment to get my stuff one day, and he was there. He could barely look at me, and then he started to cry and ran over to hug me. He never cried during the 10 years I knew him. He said he was devastated by the breakup and that he already missed me. He said it hurt to see me and that he hoped we would run into each other in the future so that he could hear about my successes. I felt that was so strange. He told me I could continue to use our Disney Plus account. One night a few weeks later I log in and the girl I had been suspicious about had an account and my name was deleted. Then I noticed that he added her to a love song playlist that he made on Spotify that he didn't think I would find probably. She was suddenly following some of his friends on social media many months later too. And I heard through a friend that he was seen with her at a bar with a group of friends. He denied being interested in her and had so many excuses. My therapist even thought he was lying. He said he doesn't want to date. I did notice that he was continuing to like other photos of girls, selfies posted for attention types of photos, and there was never any official postings on social media that he was in fact dating this girl that I was suspicious of. She was going through a divorce during this time. I have reason enough to believe, based on other information, that they aren't officially dating like I thought they were. But yet, it still hurts because I still feel like I was cheated on. It is bizarre, because it's almost like I got emotionally cheated on, so he could have a friends with benefits situation. It has been some time since all of this happened, and I am still piecing things together, but all I know is that whatever those two are, it isn't a lasting thing. And honestly, I cannot imagine how those two would work together. She seems pretty immature and attention-seeking from what I have heard. Just not somebody I would ever have expected him to associate with. I recently moved across the country to attend a well-respected school for a graduate degree. My life is really getting much better, and I am almost positive that he knows, because his friends follow me on social media. As for my ex, he doesn't look any better. He said he wanted to focus on his health and lose weight. He looks slightly heavier now, and he is still trying to be the cool guy at his distillery. Not much change like he said he was going to do. My ex's cousin is still messaging me. He initiates now that he loves and misses me, and that he is so happy that I am enjoying life in this new city as his sister. We were like brother and sister, and I also notice now that his friends are consistently looking at my social media photos, Instagram stories, even more now that I have moved across the country. It's wild. It has, admittedly, been a couple of years since the breakup, and I am improving a lot, but some nights I do still get unbelievably sad. Like tonight. And just need somebody to tell me that he is going to regret this. A lot of my friends and family think that he will, and that he probably already does. When he left, I feel like it stole away the dreams I had for my life, because those dreams included him and his successes. Like I said, is there a chance that he is regretting this? Even if he does, I know he would never tell me. He doesn't do that. There is an extremely high probability he will regret this. There is an equally high probability she will never know. What's interesting is about a third of people who divorce regret the decision. What I find interesting about that statistic is the obvious bias. Essentially, they are asking people if they made a mistake. Makes me wonder how many people are miserable in a second marriage, knowing that divorce will make it obvious they are the issue.